Please report to the awards podium. We need you down here right now, buddy. We'd love to hand out some awards, get all the pictures taken. So, Ty Kosick, if you see him, bring him on down. And if you don't see him, shout for him to get down to the podium.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're continuing on from the end of that scintillating girls 4 runoff competition, and now we're going to go to girls 5 slalom, which is going to be our last slalom competition of the day. Approaching the course at 28 mile an hour, 15 off, is going to be Kaylee Frank. Conditions have been challenging, to say the least, for our competitors, especially for some of our earlier girls' competition. But not looking too bad on the opening run of 28 miles an hour, 15 off, and she runs that pass. Decent effort there, 15 off at 28 miles an hour. And looking in grand shape there, keeping herself nice and wide, getting a little bit pitted out there off number 2 into number 3, but continuing to roll for the remaining buoys on this particular run. A big shout out to big ups and kudos to Troy Zollner for giving the slalom coverage all the way from the start through to the finish of girls 4 slalom. The reason why he's jumping off the microphone here for girls 5 is because he's going to drive some practice for our jumpers on the opposite leg. Can't imagine anyone absolutely wanting to go out there and practice in the conditions that we have with the wind blowing the way that it is. But you got to prepare for the conditions you might well face within the next few days, I suppose, especially some of our pro competitors coming in at 30 miles an hour at 15 off, getting a little bit strung out into buoy number 3 and equally so into number 4. This is Kaylee Frank, and taking a big old bounce there into number 5. That was at 30 miles an hour, 49k, 15 off, 18.25 meters, and I believe that score will be 4 buoys. We'll get confirmation of that. It's going to be 4 buoys, I believe. Are they confirming 4? Hey, listen, can you speak a little further away from the microphone? I think the reason why you sound garbled is because your mouth is too close. All right then, so here and now we have got our next competitor. We've got Cecilia Holden. We'll take a look up on the screen and find out what she's going to come in on very, very soon, riding that Syndicate slalom ski. And Syndicate are the title sponsor of the next tournament that TWBC will actually be broadcasting from the Hilltop Lake facility outside of Arlington, Washington. It is the Syndicate Hilltop Slalom. 28 miles an hour, 15 off. Seems to be a pretty sensible option for some of our slalom skiers at this stage to be coming into the course, knowing that getting through the opening pass is certainly a good start. Round number 5, a little bit of buffeting from the wind, gets around all 6 buoys, and nicely done. Job well done. Taking a look at the instant replay. Little flat into number 1, was very, very lucky to be able to get wide enough to get round buoy number 1, if we're being bluntly honest. So with Cecilia Holden doing a fine job on pass number 1. She's going to come back pass number 2, and it's going to be at 30 miles an hour or 49k. Line length still the same, 15 off, 18.25 meters. For those of you who are tuning in across the nation and around the world, a big ups to you for your support and patience. I'm sure the skiers and their appropriate entourage appreciate your support. Here comes 30 miles an hour for Cecilia Holden. Entrance gates, pass number 2. The wind blowing her down course, which means it's going to be very, very difficult to slow down into the turns to break the ski in 4 buoys. It looks like she's going to get round 5, and unfortunately will not get round number 6 at 49k, 30 miles an hour. A decent effort, but unfortunately won't do the job so far as cleaning that pass. But it does put her in the lead after 2 competitors. Cecilia Holden with a score of 5 at 30 miles an hour. Whereas Katie Frank scored 4 at 30 miles an hour. I do beg your pardon. All right, next skier up is going to be Samantha Hill. There at the right there at the opposite end of the trailer, swapping seat from the Lake 2 webcast to the Lake 1 webcast. That is Vincent Stadelbauer, and here I am on a end of the desk that you don't typically see me on, at least so far as this competition after 4 days. You could win the ski of your choice by accurately predicting the podium in the Morley US Open of water skiing slalom competition, accurately predict the podiums in the slalom events of women and men in that competition, and you could win yourself a D3 or a Conley slalom ski of your choice. Go to waterskibroadcasting.com for more details and to play our audience prize game. So that was at 28 miles an hour for Samantha Hill. Look at her go. Samantha Hill working that ski into its turns, and acceleration out, getting out to buoy's width rather efficiently and keeping the flow going. So, getting ready for pass number 2. It is going to be at 30 miles an hour, but she selected long line, which doesn't really make that. So, we're having a look at 30 miles an hour for the second pass. So now coming back in at 4 miles an hour at 15 off. She started off at 15 off. Now we're at 34 miles an hour, 22 off. She's already in the lead by the sheer fact that she selected a higher boat speed, and so it looks like she's going to get a score of 2 buoys there for Samantha Hill. We'll look at this once again. You see how much slack the tailwind generates behind the skier, unable to break the ski into a turn. Getting round as far as number 3 into the wake, so it's going to be 3 at 34.22 off. That sets the lead. That gives her a significant amount apart. So we've got our next competitor to go. We should have Libby Jameson. Okay, so we're scratching Libby Jameson. We're now going on to Samantha Stretfeld. Let's have a look at the pass coming in. Line length is going to be 22 off. She goes in at 32 miles an hour. This is sub-max. This would be the equivalent of 34 miles an hour at 15 off. But thanks to zero-based scoring, it means that she can actually go on a shorter line at sub-maximum speed and achieve an equivalent score almost akin to going at maximum speed on the longer line length. This helps skiers that are more in tune with skiing at 22 off, the shorter line length, but just wants to go in on a slightly softer speed to get things up and running. That is a pass of 22 off, 32 miles an hour.
Okay, well, so we've concluded our girls for skiing for the day. We'd like to gather all of our girls for slalom, trick, and overall skiers.
So a lot of action taking place out in the water. Just a reminder to those of you folks, if you are expecting girls free slalom, then you're going to have to wait a few hours, because girls free slalom will take place as the first event tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Girls free slalom, which was slated to be our last slalom event of the day, has been postponed until tomorrow morning. Here we go. This now is 34 miles an hour at 22 off. Keeping the flow going from one side of the course to the next, keeping the ski out ahead of her. Good skiing. At 22 off at 34 miles an hour. She's skiing up to maximum speed. And then from there, the line length shortens. 34 mile an hour. 28 off is going to be the next run for her. And just look at her trying to maintain her course width and trying to keep the line tight going into the turns. Beautifully executed run. Also trying to manage her speed going into each turn. Certainly working that pass. And a great effort there from Samantha Stretfeld.
Well, we would like to thank all of our towboat manufacturers for supporting our sport, Mastercraft, of course.
So, having started at 32 miles an hour, 22 off, she is now at 28 off, 34 miles an hour.
All these towboats to perfection to give us our best performances. And looking for a great performance now from Samantha Stretfeld. She comes in at 28 off.
Here we go. This is 28 off now into the headwind, which means she can afford to pull long and still have enough power to slow down and break that ski into a turn. Look at that. That is a six-buoy count at 28 off, 34 miles an hour. Good job managing the wind incredibly well out there on the slalom course. It is 28 off at 34 miles an hour. Not terribly wide on buoy number one. I'm one as an advocate for skiing as wide as possible in the slalom course, generating a lot more space coming into the turn so that the ski has a chance to whip round and backside the buoys on each turn. Skiing a little bit narrow into number one on that pass, but thankfully it didn't catch her out, and now she's going to come in at 32 off, 34 miles an hour. She's already in the lead by a country mile, and we've still got another 7 or more slalom skiers to go before we round off 2 days event. We are on skier number 5. Our last skier is skier number 12 in the form of Anne-Marie Wroblewski, but we've still got plenty of skiers between her and Anne-Marie. Bulking over round buoy number 2, trying to get outside number 3. Does she get outside 3 and S turns? Not quite. So we'll take a look at the instant replay to see whether she made an effective play on number 3. So the judges are, the officials, from what I'm able to ascertain, are calling that 2.5, and we'll see if they're correct with their estimation here. Number 1, slack line off that turn, normal for a tailwind pass. getting broken over some more, and let's have a look and see if she made it outside. Yes, she made it outside buoy number 3. Doesn't quite have the skill or the room to S-turn, and that is going to be a score of 2 1/2 at 32 off. 2 1/2 at 32 off, 34 miles an hour. So now we move on to our next competitor, Celia Stern. So Celia Stern coming into the course for her opening pass. We'll find out what that pass is in just a moment. It is going to be 34 miles an hour, 22 off. So taking a bold approach here. Max speed, short line. Little roll out towards the back there. Now she's got to be extremely careful here. She's got to get outside wide of the buoys, but can't afford to power up too soon. Look at that, round number 6. Can she make it through the exit gates? And I don't think she has, you know. Getting into all kinds of difficulty there with that that opening pass at 22 off. And it skied almost straight at number 1. Save for a little bit of width there, and just didn't allow for the ski to fully rotate and keep on track with the course, letting herself get pulled down the course into a very vicious headwind. That is Celia Stern. We've yet to see the total buoy count, but I would suspect it's going to be 5.5 here. Let's have a look and see what her approach into number 6 looks like. Was getting narrow all the time, round number 6. Does she make it through the exit gate? Nope. It is going to be a 5.5 buoy total there for her on her opening pass. And that is going to be a major hurting so far as her overall ranking is concerned in Girls 5. So she'll ski to the dock. Will not have any further participation in the slalom event. And I think at this moment in time, as upset as she is, probably wishing that she went into the course at 32 miles an hour at 22 off. So that is Celia Stern, and now we're going to get ready for Brooke Boskers coming up next. And while we wait for that, we'll pause for a moment and then we'll rejoin the action.
Denali. No hype, just science.
All right, looks like we got Brooke Boskers about to take to the slalom course, coming to us out of Elkins in Arkansas, which isn't too far outside of Fayetteville, the major city in northwestern Arkansas and the worldwide global home of Walmart. Here we go. This is Brooke Boskers, 34 mile an hour, 22 off, the same speed and line length that we've seen from our previous competitor, Celia Stern. Allowing the ski to get outside buoy's width and then just cranking it hard on the backside of the buoy turn, a little loose into 5, but managing to keep the ski ahead of her, well wide of 6, and she gets her challenge up and running effectively with a score of 6 buoys at 34 miles an hour, 22 off. And here you see the difference here, just allowing the ski to bleed off its speed from a wide point in relation to the buoys. There's certainly 2 ways that you can approach slowing down before the buoys. Even you could ski straight at it and then hit the brakes on and hope that you get round the turn effectively, or bleeding the speed out off wide and giving yourself every advantage in the world to allow that ski to backside each turn. You know which one I would prefer. All right then. So we've got some great skiing on tap. We got Samantha Stretfield with 2.5 at 32 off 34 miles an hour. Celia Stern with 5 at 22 off 34 miles an hour. Although in actuality, Celia Stern, that would be 5 buoys on the opening pass, so that would put her straight down towards the end. But in amongst that, we've got Samantha Hill would be in second place with 3 at 15 off, and then you think you can basically work it out. You can also go to waterskiresults.com for results and scores as they become available. 34 miles an hour, 28 off for Brooke Boskus. So there we go. We got Brooke Boskus on the pass of 28 off. Look at her go round buoy number 4, round number 5. She has got this one. She is all over that pass, and she will ski round all 6 buoys to the end of the course and gets ready for 32 off. Oh, and that 32 off there for Brooke Boskus, getting past the point where she'd already taken the lead with 3 and trying to make a play on 4, so it's going to be 3 1/2. It's a great effort there from her, and we'll see how that shapes up in regards to the remaining competitors that we've seen on this list. Brooke Boskus is skiing number 7. She started at 22 off 34 miles an hour. She completed the opening pass and the pass afterwards, and that was a score of 3 1/2 at 32 off, 3 1/2 at 32 off for Brooke Boskus. Michaela Todd coming up next, skiing number 8 of 12 in this girls 5 slalom competition, as awards are being given out now for one of our previous divisions. I believe it's the jump event, and some great performances by our youngsters, especially in rather adverse conditions with the wind and all that kind of stuff. So, as we take a check-in on one of our podium presentations, let me tell you our next competitor is going to be Michaela Todd. Michaela Todd. And just to clarify, that's girls 4 jumping award presentations. Congratulations to each and every one of those medalists. They certainly deserve their awards. Girls 4 was our penultimate jumping competition today, before we went into boys 3 jumps. Or actually boys 5 jumping, I beg your pardon. So, now, we got Michaela Todd round the island, making an approach on pass number 1. We're looking at 34 miles an hour, 22 off the orange loop. A rapid change of direction there as part of the gate shot into buoy number 1. Looking strong. But at the same time, as she exerts her aggression and authority out in the slalom course, she has to exert a certain degree of caution, because one wrong move and it could be a very short effort. Oh, and look at this. There might be a little bit of a judgment call here with the gate shot coming into buoy number 1. That rapid change of direction there for Michaela Todd could prove to be costly if the judges pick up on that instant replay. And yes, sounds like from our on-site PA announcer has just relayed the information from our officials. A 0 score on the opening pass. 0 score. So 0 score on the opening pass from Michaela Todd because of that missed gate entry. So she'll be brought back to the dock. And as she's brought back to the dock, we'll take a quick break. And then we'll resume action with Alyssa Drake next.
Hi, my name is Thomas De Gasperi. I am from Trento, Italy. That's where I was born and raised. I'm here now in Orlando, Florida, where I spend my winters, doing a little bit of ski school, a little bit of training. I joined the team Goode in 2004, and I remember calling up Dave and asking to try a new ski, and because I was kind of like looking for a new ski, and he sent me one, and since then it's been a good relationship with him, a good relationship with the company, and I'm still riding it today, and I still feel like it's the best choice for me.
All right, returning to the action here, we have got Alyssa Drake. As awards are given out for our girls for overall competition, I believe. Now that we've done with all of the girls for the overall results are known. And here is a native from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. It is Alyssa Drake getting up behind that Nautic towboat and making her way in towards the slalom course with the opening pass. Now, if the train continues, this should be 22 off at 34, but she might have other plans. No, it's 28 off at 32, which scores exactly the same buoy count as 34 mile an hour 22. Deciding to go with a sub-max speed with shorter line, trying to work the zero-base scoring system to her advantage, getting around all 6 buoys, round number 4, round number 5, and expertly worked, which means that the next pass is going to be at 34 miles an hour at 28 off. It's just a different way of getting to exactly where you want to be out on the slalom course, because had she gone in at 34 miles an hour 22 off and run that pass, then she would have come back into the course with exactly the same pass as 34 miles an hour 28 off. You shorten the rope instead of upping the boat speed. But this way, she comes in at 32 miles an hour with the line already at 28 off, so that by the time she gets to the end, she just ups the boat speed. So that's just a different way of getting there. It's Alyssa Drake, and she'll come back in at 28 off. Still, the line is still at 28 off, but the boat speed is now 34 miles an hour. Before the line is eligible to be shortened, you have to go in at max speed. And here she comes. 28 off, 34 miles an hour. Here she comes, Alyssa Drake.
All right, 34 miles an hour, 28 off. Here comes.
There you go, Alyssa Drake, round buoy number 2. Continuing to roll, round number 3. Keeping a good buoy width, allowing the ski to backside the turn with sufficient width to do so. Oh, look at that beautiful slalom technique and style. It is 32 off coming up next. She just cleared 14.25 meters, or 28 off. For those of you watching us around the world, you are most certainly welcome. I will endeavor to provide you with the metric conversions on each pass to keep you updated. She has cleared 28 off at 34 miles an hour, which is the equivalent of 55K at 14.25 meters. And the next line length is going to be at 32 off. The boat speed's still the same, 34 miles an hour, which is the equivalent of 55K and 13 meters. The green loop. There she is. Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, she comes from. She's already toured a number of colleges across the country to determine which one she could possibly ski for. A member of the U.S. Junior Waterski team. And will be competing at the U17 World Championships, the IWWF U17 Tournament World Championships, which will take place in Santa Rosa Beach, which will be covered exclusively live by TWBC. And I tell you what, among our top skiers going into that event is Alyssa Drake with her 6-buoy count at 32 off. And at this stage, with that total of 6 buoys and getting ready for 35 off, she has put herself immediately into the top 5 podium positions. So now she's going to get ready for 35 off. Now she is really going to try and put some pressure, put some heat on our skiers to come. If she can take advantage of these relatively calm conditions for 35 off, even though it's a little bit of a tailwind, then she will do herself a great service. So, 6 buoys at 32 off, getting ready for 35. Turning round. 35 off now at 34 miles an hour. This is the blue loop. There you go. Round buoy number 1. Round number 2, stretching hard round number 2, losing steam and losing power. But she did that with a tailwind. And there you go. That is a 2-buoy count at 35-2 at 35 off for Alyssa Drake. Superb effort there. And enough to put her in the top 5 at the very least. She is the leader. And now has thrown down a huge challenge for the next competitors to attack. Kendra Nathan, Sage Potbecker, and our final skier, Maria Robluski. There is our leaderboard. Right there, Alyssa Drake. Right up there, 2 at 35 off, 3.5 at 32, 34 mile an hour for Brooke Voskis, and Samantha Stretfield with 2.5. Samantha Hill with 3 at 15 off, 34 miles an hour. Cecilia Holden with 5 at 15 off, and that is your top 5. The remaining results you can find at waterskiresults.com. Next skier up is going to be Kendra Nathan. We are waiting the pass coming in. Kendra Nathan, look at the top left. There is 22 off at 34 miles an hour. If she runs this pass, the line will shorten, the boat speed will not increase. Look at this, Kendra Nathan allowing the ski to ski out wide. Round number 5, round number 6, safe as houses. Boat speed will remain the same. The line length will shorten now. And Kendra Nathan getting ready for 28 off at 34 miles an hour. Or the equivalent of 55K, 14.25 meters. Ski bouncing around a little bit into the pre-turn coming into buoy number 3. All right then, folks, we continue to roll. Kendra Nathan. Be sure to put yourself in the frame to win a ski of your choice, whether it's a D3 or Conley, as part of our audience prize competition. Go to waterskibroadcasting.com/play for more details. 34 miles an hour, 28 off is in all kinds of shape. Look at this. 28 off. Getting a little bit buffeted into buoy number 4. Continue to roll round number 5. Keeps the ski ahead of her sufficiently enough to run through that pass. And now is getting prepared for 32 off for the next run behind that Nautic towboat by Correct Craft. Instant replay presented by 0 off. And whoa. Handle on that turn on number 1. She was extremely lucky to be able to turn that ski and continue to roll. So there we go. That's Kendra Nathan. She's gotten through all 6 buoys at 28 off. And I think at this point, if she can get more than 2.5 at a 32 off, which is the next run, that will put her in the top 5 as it stands right now, to the best of my recollection and memory. On dockside, we got Sage Potbecker, who has recently signed her a national letter of intent to ski for the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana Lafayette, and more details of that in just a few moments when she gets ready to ski. Here comes at 34 miles an hour, 32 off, or 55K, 13 meters. This is Kendra Nathan getting stretched. Okay, here we...
But she's handling it just fine as she'll run that 32 off.
Okay, so Kendra Nathan getting through 32 off, and now she's going to attack that score of Alyssa Drake. She put down a score of 2 at 35 off, and with the wind conditions the way they are, and a lot of our skiers not making an effective play on the first couple of buoys, not to the point where it would be relatively straightforward to run the pass afterwards. It could possibly mean that we have another score of 2 at 35 off. I'm Tony Lightfoot. You've been a great audience so far with the slalom event on lake number 1. Be sure to subscribe to Waterski Broadcasting's YouTube channel.
Watch that nice jump. Check in at registration if you're interested.
And double click that bell icon to get the latest information on live events when they become available. 34 miles an hour, 35 off. If she makes a play on 3, which she will, there you go. She's taken the lead away from Alyssa Drake. She's round number 4. Oh, my word. And she knew there was a chance for her to run 35 off with a tailwind, and that would have been an almost insurmountable challenge for the skiers to come, quite possibly. She got the start on number 1. She kept the ski running. A little bit strung out into buoy number 2, but she made an effective play on it and kept the tail of the ski in the water. She got round number 3, which was fine, but then she got strung out into number 4, round that 4th buoy, made the turn, got enough of it to score 3.5. 3.5 at 35 off. That's enough to give her the lead and places her in the top 3 at the extreme least, because there are 2 competitors to go. She is the leader, and she is on top of the leaderboard right now with 3.5 at 35 off. 2 competitors remaining. We've got Anne-Marie Wroblewski coming up in a few minutes, but before her is going to be Sage Potbecker. And we will see those competitors in a moment. Up next, Sage Potbecker, then Anne-Marie Wroblewski. There is your leaderboard right now, 3.5 at 35 off, 34 miles an hour. That's the equivalent of 3.5 at 12 meters at 55K. Some great slaloming from all of those competitors. And right now, waiting on Sage Potbecker to enter the course. We'll wait to see what line length she is selected. We'll bring into the course right after this.
Denali. No hype, just science.
But I was in Florida and it was just like usually it's not windy in the summer and it was windy.
Well, she took a trip to the Masters this year.
Let me get a picture.
Junior US Open, Swiss Pro. She's entered into a lot of amazing tournaments, and she's done it very well. Under 17, jump, talent.
All right, now approaching the course, our penultimate skier in girls 5. This is Sage Potbecker. 34 miles an hour, 28 off, or 55K, 14.25 meters. A bold move here. Look at her go. Keeping the flow going outside of buoy number 5. She runs the opening pass and gets her task up and running in the best way possible. 6 buoys at 28 off, 34 miles an hour, or 14.25 meters at 55K. The boat speed stays the same. The difference between the passes from here on out are going to be the line length shortening, starting with 32 off or 13 meters coming up next. Looking in great style there. Just turning to a certain point and just holding that position. Not really putting too much pressure against the boat beyond that, but just turns the ski, sets, and just goes cross course, and then allows the ski to ski away from the handle, and then rotates around the buoy as if she knows what she's doing. All right, that is Sage Potbecker. 32 off, 13 meters comes up next as she gets up behind that Nautic towboat, the official towboat of the IWWF, and they will pull all of the World Championships attributed to this season, the U17, the U21, and the Open Elite Worlds, and all of those competitions being brought to you exclusively live on TWBC as we see Sage Potbecker at 32 off. Now, he's got to work this one smart round buoy number 5. Can't afford to put too much of a foot wrong, and she gets round all 6 buoys at 32 off. Now, what wasn't immediately obvious was the wind strategy, and she decided to go at 28 off to place a 35 off attempt into the wind. That is smart skiing, because she knows that if she makes a play on number 4 into the wakes, she might even have a chance of running the pass, and that would really put some serious heat on Anne-Marie Wroblewski. But she's gotten to the point where the wind strategy comes into full effect here. 35 off. Coming up next for Sage Potbecker, who, as I said before she went out under the water, signed a national letter of intent to ski for the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana Lafayette in NCWSA National Collegiate Water Skiing. So, coming into the course. Coming in. This is the 79th Goode National Waterski Championships. This is girls 5 slalom. Good extension around buoy number 1. Chasing the lead down, which is 3.5 on this line length. Round number 3. Gets it to go. Makes a play on number 4. A little bit loose on number 4 and number 5. Can she make it round buoy number 6? Allows that ski to effectively turn. And our first skier to run through 35 off. It is Sage Potbecker. 35 off. 12 meters. Beautifully executed. Could have panicked off buoy number 4, but just stayed relaxed and stayed in calm control. I'm sure that kind of slalom skiing and that kind of thinking on top of the water has been drilled into her by the likes of April Coble. Sage Potbecker again extended into buoy number 5, but allowing the ski to rotate all the way round and just driving that ski all the way round. That is the Conley DV8 slalom ski, which she had just recently converted onto. And it's one of the skis that you could potentially win if you accurately But just to remind you folks that you could win yourself a slalom ski, a D3 or a Conley. by accurately predicting the podiums. Right there, go to waterskibroadcasting.com/play to put yourself in a position where you could win yourself a slalom ski, either a D3 or a Connolly. All right then, here we go. This is Sage Potbecker. This is 34 miles an hour, 38 off. This is 11.25 meters around buoy number 1. This is but a bonus for her. Gets around buoy number 2, releases the handle. I believe she will score 1 for that. We'll see if it is 1 or 1 1/4, but she is our leader, and she puts herself in the top 2 at the extreme least. A member of the U.S. national water ski team, and will ski in the Under-17 World Championships coming up very, very shortly in Santa Rosa Beach. Keeps the handle long enough to score at least a 1/4. I don't think it will score a 1/2 because the handle released before she could get the ski or the... So they did. So they gave her 1 1/2. The officials scored her 1 1/2 at 38 off, and that is now the target for Anne-Marie Wroblewski, our last skier to take to the water. There is your slalom leaderboard. And in the water, Anne-Marie Wroblewski, resplendent with the blue dye in her hair, and getting ready to go into the course on the opening pass. Now, if she employs the same strategy as Sage Potbecker, she will come into the course at 28 off, 34 miles an hour. That is the equivalent of 14.25 meters or at 55K. Coming around the island and into the slalom course. That is the yellow loop, 34 miles an hour, and deciding not to go with the zero-based option, which would have allowed it to go into the course at a slightly slower speed, but have the line length the same. At 14.25 meters, there is Anne-Marie Wroblewski going at max speed on a short line and getting ready for 32 off, employing exactly the same wind strategy as Sage Potbecker. So it's a straight-up head-to-head battle, it would seem. Anne-Marie Wroblewski keeping her eyes up, going down the line of the slalom course. As soon as she knows that she's made an attack on that turn, she goes cross course. You see her on that Connolly slalom ski, on that red Connolly. I believe that is a DV8. And she goes across course, looking very, very nice on that ski. Skiing out of the Coble Ski School in Lillington, North Carolina. Anne-Marie Wroblewski. Very well. Anne-Marie Wroblewski now coming in now at 32 off. Tailwind. If she keeps the line tight enough through the entrance gates and allows the ski to arc out wide, then she's in with a chance. Round buoy number 2. Can't afford to put too much of a foot wrong here. She's still ahead of the course on number 4. Good to go round number 5. Safety checks on 5. Gets round number 6. There you go, Anne-Marie Wroblewski. It is a 6 buoy count at 32 off, and now sets herself up for the critical run. It's 35 off, a pass that she will need to run to get anywhere close to the score thrown down by Sage Potbecker. So Anne-Marie Wroblewski, 35 off. Not the easiest of passes to run. And certainly with these gusty wind conditions, it provides even more of a challenge. But she set up the wind strategy here for her to attack the course at 35 off with the wind blowing in her face, allowing the ski to slow down effectively and allowing her the space to make some good, sharp, backsided turns. It is still possible to backside these turns at 35 off, but you've got to be incredibly skilled to pull that off. Let's have a look and see. 35 off, 12 meters for Anne-Marie Wroblewski. 55K, 12 meters. Flat into number 2. Let's see if she can continue to roll. Skiing relatively flat into some of these turns, but able to get good cross-course angle There you go. Nicely done, Anne-Marie Wroblewski. So now the target is ahead of her. If she gets around buoy number 2 on the next pass of 11.25 meters or 38 off, then she takes the title. 1.5 would tie, and she will go into a runoff situation. Anything less, and Sage Potbecker will come away with the win. And there you see, right off number 2 into number 3, for a lot of people, if you skied that flat off that particular buoy, it could well be disastrous. But she is an experienced campaigner out there, Anne-Marie Wroblewski, and looked in good shape all the way throughout that run. So Anne-Marie is already in good enough shape to be in the top 2 on the podium. So Sage Potbecker with a score of 1.5 at 11.25 meters or 38 off. Anne-Marie Wroblewski charging towards that particular score. More than 1.5, which is essentially 2, will give her the win. 34 mile an hour, 38 off, 11.25 meters, round number 1 on the back of her ski. She's round, oh, and does she get enough of that turn on buoy number 2? We've yet to find out the score. So looks like it is 1.5. It is a runoff situation. 1. Whoa, and look at that from Anne-Marie Wroblewski. We're just trying to determine whether we're going to have a runoff situation with Sage Potbecker producing a similar score. Both of them going down at 1 and 1.5. So we're just waiting and reviewing the situations.
All right, we need Anne-Marie down to the start dock. You are in a runoff. You have just tied for first place in the girls 5 competition.
So it looks like the boat is coming in to, I believe, pick up both competitors, Anne-Marie Wroblewski and Sage Potbecker. So both of those competitors in a runoff situation go in on the last cleared run. So we're going to find out who is going to ski first, whether it's going to be Anne-Marie Wroblewski. Both. It's going to be Sage Potbecker take it to the water first and then Anne-Marie afterwards. And both of them have to go in at 35 off. Now, the rub here is that, well, not so much of a rub, but both of those competitors actually cleared 35 off in the direction that they'll be coming into the course directly off the starting dock.
I can tell you right now.
asked about retirement, most people worry about one thing. Do I have enough money? Am I going to be okay? But there are more things to consider, like inflation, taxes, and when should you take Social Security? We at Drake & Associates want to help. Visit us at wealthwisconsin.com for a list of upcoming classes or to schedule a complimentary consultation and learn how you could retire happy and worry-free. That's wealthwisconsin.com.
Okay, here we go in the runoff situation, coming in at 35 off for 12 meters. Anne-Marie Wroblewski on the water. Round number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and number 6 there. So now getting ready for the next pass of 38 off, which is 11.25 meters. Boat speed still the same at 34. This is the runoff situation to determine the championship right here at the Nationals for girls 5 slalom. Sage Potbecker is the other protagonist in this event, and she'll be skiing next after she's skiing Anne-Marie Wroblewski get through with her performance. So 12-meter start, 35 off, successfully negotiated. And there is Sage Potbecker on dockside, getting ready for her turn. And she will go into the course at 35 off for her opening pass as well. Anne-Marie Wroblewski, a skier who trains over at Tacoma Waterski School in Livingston, North Carolina. Sage Potbecker trains up at Jack Travers' ski school in Oklahoma in Central Florida, to the best of my knowledge. So here we go. This now is Anne-Marie Wroblewski. Round number 1, wheelies up a little bit. Does she make it round number 2 this time? Yes, she does. Round number 2, does she make a play on 3? Whoa, and crashing in hard. We're waiting on the official reckoning here, and took a big hard fall there into number 3. But so now round buoy number 2. So let's have a look at it from this perspective. Wow, that's a huge. So the judges rule that as 2 1/2. Looks like she made an effective play on 3 to be awarded 2 1/2. So now she's going to swim across the course and now get back to the shoreline. And then once the course is cleared, then Sage Potbecker will roll away into the fray. Both of these competitors we'll see later on in the season compete in the IWWF World U17 and quite possibly the U Under 21 competition. That will be brought to you exclusively live from Santa Rosa Beach, starting in about a week or two's time.
Hard to ski with a big old plastic boot.
Go. So, this is a runoff for gold and silver. So the least that any of our skiers can come away with is the silver medal. Here comes Sage Potbecker. 35 off. Quick change in direction there for the gate shot there for Sage Potbecker. A little bit on the back foot. Rolling the ski out ahead of her. Trying to stay calm, trying to stay focused. Not to let the situation get the better of her. And there she goes. It's a 6-buoy count. It is 12 meters for Sage Potbecker. And now the target looms large. She has to get round buoy number 3 and S-turn for the wakes, in essence, to take the win here in girls 5 slalom. She is at that point. She has that opportunity on the strength of a good-looking run at 35 off, 12 meters, getting broken at the waist there off number 4, maintaining her direction, keeping her calm, keeping her cool, waiting for the line to tighten to get round buoy number 5, round number 6, through the exit gate. And that is the reason she ran 35 off straight off the dock. So here we go. No other skiers on the dock, no other skiing to take place. If you're expecting girls 3, you're going to have to wait a few hours because that event will take place at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning as the first event off the dock in the slalom competition. We made that change a little bit earlier on this afternoon because we knew that with the storms there would be a delay. Here we go. This is round number 1. Makes a play on number 1 and inside buoy number 2, and that means that your winner in girls 5 slalom is Anne-Marie Wroblewski, having scored 2.5 at 38 off in the runoff, 2.5 at 11.25 meters, therefore defeating Sage Potbecker in the runoff, who scores this particular total. Round number 1, unable to get outside buoy number 2, so she scores 1 at 11.25 meters, 1 at 38 off. A happy Anne-Marie Wroblewski is your winner in girls 5 slalom. Congratulations to both those competitors, especially Anne-Marie Wroblewski, your national girls 5 slalom champion. Some great skiing there from both those competitors. And we'll have a look at our site one last time, and getting a little bit dark here, I'm afraid. Yep, we are skiing all the way through to almost complete darkness. My name is Tony Lightfoot. Great to have you on board. Anne-Marie Wroblewski, your winner in girls 5 slalom, ahead of Sage Potbecker and ahead of Kendra Nathan, Alyssa Drake, and I believe Brooke Boskis. Those are your top 5. Thank you for watching. Be sure to join us tomorrow morning with our first event, girls free slalom. But for me, for now, and on behalf of the whole crew of TWBC, it is ciao for now.
Denali. No hype, just science.